Welcome to the Downtown, brought to you by Arlington Citizen Media. I am Daryl Smith Jr., and across the internet for me is...
I am Rody John, and across the interwebs for me is...
Amy! On today's show, we talk to Daniel Katsuk about his musical projects, including Spoonfed Tribe, and his solo project, where he writes commissioned songs about many different topics. And we talk about his album, Commissions and Recommissions, Volume 1.
We also talked to Greg Hallman with Crudoolandia about what Crudoolandia means and how it got started, and why this Oklahoma-based company decided to open their first Texas location here in Arlington.
So explain people what that is. Like, give them a quick rundown before we get into the interview, because, like, just hearing that word, I don't know what that means.
So it basically means, the Crodula part basically means hangover, and the Landia part is land, so hangover land. So basically they're there to either give you a hangover or help cure your hangover.
Okay.
So what's funny about this
crazy
place
mission
is
statement.
They just happen to fall into my lap because they are from Oklahoma and they're looking for beer, and the wine company I work for also deals with the beer, but we don't actually do beer here in Texas. In other states they do. So they happened to get my number, and then we started chatting, and I was like, wait a minute, you guys don't do wine? Well, you're here in Arlington. I'll help you out, and we'll put you on the podcast. So it worked out pretty well. And they're basically a drive-through, like, kind of Mexican beers with the spices and stuff, and they also do great food. And they just opened up this past Saturday. So I went by there, and they were pretty busy. And they were in a great location for what they're looking for, and I look forward to trying them next month when I can actually drink.
So you didn't have anything? You didn't get the shrimp with the spices or anything?
No. None of that. I'm doing Whole30 this month, so unfortunately, none of that stuff is Whole30.
Isn't shrimp Whole30?
I could pick around stuff, but...
Couldn't you just give me a shrimp with some spice on it?
Yeah.
Right,
why didn't you bring home some shrimp with some spice on it?
I don't know.
Didn't you, when you talked to them, were they open yet? I thought you said you talked to them before they opened.
I did talk to them before they opened. So in the interview, you will hear that they say that they opened this Saturday, which is this past Saturday. So they are open, so check them out.
I'm excited. I saw the menu. I was really interested in it. It's a lot of, chili powders on different things and Michelada.
Who doesn't like chili powder? I love chili powder.
Right. I mean, it is exactly like you said. That will give you the worst hangover, and then it cures it.
Uh-huh.
So
it's a twofer. They get you in at night, and then they get you back the next day.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing.
That's
and
a good business.
I also heard that the state of Texas is looking to make to-go liquor drinks permanent, right?
Good.
It was like a temporary thing during COVID to help small businesses, but there is now legislation going to the Texas House to make mixed drinks completely to go forever.
You give the people what they want, and
right?
You can't stop them. Look at Social Security. Now drinking, like, to go, come on.
Yeah.
Give the people what they want.
Exactly. It works well in other states like Nevada, Louisiana. I don't know. Obviously, Florida. Florida, you can do anything, really. So I don't know why they've drug their feet for so long in this state. But, we're all drinking, and let's do it to go. But safely.
And not in January.
Yes. Not driving. Not drinking. Stay keep away from that.
Daryl, what have you been up to?
Trying not to laugh at that segment there. Nothing. I started school today. It's tough. I've been Pythoning, but nothing. COVID's wild, so I'm good. I'm just going to stay at home.
Nice.
Well, your wife is starting nursing school.
Yes, she started nursing school today. She said she liked it, so that's good.
Excellent. Congratulations to Haley.
Yes.
Our former food correspondent, and now that we can't go anywhere for food, hopefully our future food correspondent, Haley.
Yeah, she'll be a part of it.
Is she at the Southeast campus, or?
She's at Trinity River.
Yeah,
that's where the nursing program is.
Yeah.
Okay, I haven't been to that one. Obviously,
congratulations. Honestly, it's really hard to get into.
Yeah.
So I congratulate her. They only take like the top 10% of students.
Yeah.
Anyways, check out these interviews. We are here with Daniel Katsuk. He's a local musician, Arlington resident, and was recently given the cover of the Fort Worth Weekly. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm honored to be here. Thanks for asking me.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Thanks to you.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Well, my schedule's super busy nowadays.
Well,
After the cover, the cover of Fort Worth Weekly opens doors for you.
Yeah, I bet. Well, in most
It really
times.
probably does. But
Yeah.
that was a joke, but it really
It
probably
probably
does.
does.
So.
Yeah, it's helped. It's been very nice. I've been receiving a lot of y'all.
Yeah,
for
yeah,
instance,
exactly.
and some gigs, and people reaching out to do different things. So it's been nice. It's been
Good.
nice.
So we are Arlington Citizen Media. We love this city. What is your connection to Arlington? Did you grow up here?
Yeah, I grew up here. Went to Hill Elementary, Bailey Junior High, Arlington High. My mom is used to be the president of the Parks
Oh, wow.
Parks and Recreation, Susan Eves, and she's like part of the people while we have River Legacy.
Wow.
And she's part of all that planning committee and stuff. So she's kind of a Arlington legend.
Kind of a big deal.
Yeah, she
Arlington's what
needs
we
a
say.
park named after her one day.
Oh, she
Okay.
really does.
Yeah, that's true.
If she's involved with River Legacy, absolutely, that's a gem in our
Yeah.
city.
Yep.
So.
We love that park.
'Cause I remember one time I asked her, I was like, "What'd you do today, Mom?" And she was like, "Well, I wrote this grant that saved this parkland instead of becoming a Walmart, And I was like, "What? You're like actually doing the stuff that I'm
Yeah.
protesting against and
Yeah.
writing things about, but you're like, I wrote a grant, saved some
saved it.
parkland,"
Normal day.
and I'm like, oh, "You're my hero. You're my hero."
Yeah, I mean, she's my hero too. Like, that
Yeah.
sounds
We need
like
to meet. We
amazing.
need to have her on,
Yes,
too.
Yeah.
we put her on the show.
Yeah.
What is she doing right now? Is she busy right now?
Sorry, your interview's over, kid. I'm the opening band
For your mom.
For your
for
mom.
my mom.
Well, that's good. That's cool. I'd be the opening band for my mom. I love my mom.
Yeah,
I love my mom.
me too.
From the article, it said that you tried to get on the Lord of the Rings soundtrack. Is that?
Yeah.
I just watched it again with my wife. She'd never seen it, so I'm really Lord of the Rings. I'm
All
really
three of
into
them?
Lord of the Rings.
Or 5 of them, I guess?
Well, we didn't watch any of the Hobbits. We just watched Lord of the Rings. We're not ready to go to the Hobbit. She's like, that was a lot. I need a
It was
break.
one day,
Yeah.
too, right?
No, it was we split it out. Over
Oh,
three
okay.
days,
good. That's
actually.
good.
Yeah.
We did Fellowship one day, and then we did Two Towers and like part of Return of the King, and then we had to go. Let's tap out. We're in Minas Tirith right now. Let's tap out and get ready for
a lot.
It is a lot. It is. I love them, but it is a lot.
Yeah. I was trying to after I saw the second Hobbit movie that came out of the 3. I don't know. I'm such a huge Tolkien fan. Like, I just had this idea. I was like, man, who is it? Ed Sheeran, who did the second song of the second movie, closing credit song, and I was like, you know what? I got a song, and I want to be in Tolkien's universe somehow. I don't know how. So I wrote this song. It's called There and Back Again, and I went to my beautiful, wonderful friends and fans. They crowdfunded me. I recorded it real quick, made a video, and then I reached out to as many people as I could, and then my friends crowdfunded me to go to New Zealand and take like 200 CDs with me and just like play on the street. And I booked some shows. I met this girl who's a singer-songwriter who worked for the Weta Studios, the kind of the makeup and design crew, and so she was like passing my CD around to all the people in the studio, and so we booked some shows together and just kind of stayed there for about 2-3 weeks, just touring around sleeping in a car and playing on the street and just handing out CDs to anyone I could meet, and then I went to the main office, and I just kind of walked in. I was like, I have a meeting with Peter Jackson, 3 o'clock. And they're like, oh, okay. Wait, who are you? And I was like, I'm late. I got to go. Which room do I got to go into? And he's like, hold on. And finally he was like, okay, well, who are you? And I was like, I just traveled, I don't know, 8,000 miles to bring him the CD, and they were like, I'm so sorry, we can't even take it, even if we took it, and anything that came out later even sounded anything like what you handed us, you could sue the bejeebus out of us, so I'm like, I'm sorry. So I was like, okay. So I was like, I just walked around. I was like, where's your restroom? And I just went to the restroom, and then I just started going around the studio like a ninja, like putting the CD in all these little weird.
I know that game. Remarkably close to how Spielberg started. Did he just like park himself in an office at the studio and be like, "This is my office," and somebody gave him a movie to direct?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's I never heard that.
Yeah,
I never heard that.
That's cool.
Well,
anyway.
It's a great story, though. Like, you know, he traveled to another freaking continent.
Did you ever meet him? Did you run into him? Did you find him in the bathroom?
No, I did meet this person who was like, I know where he lives. And I was playing on the street, and I was just talking to her, and she's like, I know where he lives if you want to go. And I was like, that kind of takes it to creepy.
Yeah.
Like, that kind of takes it to a weird space. And I was
Office
like,
is one level, but like his personal home is like, really
I was like, no, but thanks.
So good try.
Yeah, at least you tried.
Yeah. So out of that, you know, like, I had a woman reach out. She heard that song, and she was trying to get a show on the Travel Network for about her and her son traveling around the world, going to all the places that she and him had read bedtime stories about.
Oh.
And so she was like, it's going to be called the Fairy Tale Traveler. And so she asked me to write a commission song to be the lead in that show. And then so that's kind of what started inspiring me to like do commission songs for others, which is like what's that article is about, and the album that just came out is about. And that was probably 6 years ago, so it's been about 6 years worth of commissions afterwards.
Wow. So how do you feel about being featured in last month's Fort Worth Weekly, and is this your first time being featured?
Yes, they've been very kind and have written up my albums before, but this is the first time I've ever been on the cover. And that was an honor, because I've played in Fort Worth for 25 years maybe with this group, Katsuk, and then AAA, Hum and Acoustical Acupuncture, and then Spoonfed Tribe. So it was to have felt like we've done so much in Fort Worth and that city, and try to create the coolest events for people we could, and to finally be on the cover it was really humbling and an honor and exciting, because I just felt like we've always been kind of passed over because we're weird. We're not really mainstreamy. We have a really kind of unique kind of thing, I guess.
So how did you end up being a musician? Have you always been a musician as a child?
Well, my parents put me into piano classes when I was about 9, and then all I wanted to do was play basketball, so I gave that up. But I'd always sang, and then I guess kind of junior high came around, and all my guy friends were meeting girls because they were good musicians, and I was like, I need to start playing music.
Yeah.
And so I started playing music for that reason, but next thing you know, I'm kind of just in my room, like playing for 8 hours at a time, and I'm like, oh, it's like I met my girlfriend, and I felt so in love. I fell so in love with it, and it just kind of consumed me, and so that was my initial desire, but it just changed because I got so fascinated with what you could create, because I was a very introverted person and shy, and it gave me a way to express that I hadn't been able to say the things I've wanted to say before. I was always kind of scared and in my shell, and it just kind of allowed me a way to get all that stuff out. It became like medicine.
Yeah, it is that way for a lot of people, musicians, and it still remains one of the best ways to meet girls.
Sure.
That is true.
So I actually didn't know that you were also in the Spoonfed Tribe.
Yeah,
I went to elementary school with Chad.
Ah.
I don't think he knows me, but like, because I think he was a couple of grades ahead of me. But I remember him playing the drums in the talent show and being like, at 9, being like, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
And so, like, in some ways, I don't want to say like Chad's like. He wasn't like the person where I was like, I'm going to pick up a guitar. But I was like, there was a moment in elementary school being like, maybe I could play music one day, like, because this guy that I go to school with is up here doing it. Interesting.
That's cool.
Exactly. Yeah, there's all these types of people we meet in our life that plant seeds.
Yeah.
and then you just meet somebody else who waters it and just gets you more excited and helps you find your way, your thing in all of this.
Yeah, I mean, I can tell there's like tons of those people in my life for sure, and he's one of them.
Mm-hmm.
How crazy.
Oh, they're doing good. We chat, and I'm still, really good friends with all the Spoonfed guys, and so we do another thing called the Skin and Bones Drum Cult together every once in a while, which is like 8 drummers, a bass player, and a violinist, and weird effects, and fire twirlers, and
that sounds awesome.
We all come out in cloaks and like V masks and stuff like that. It's real dark and kind of crazy, but it's fun. We only do it like once or twice a year, but
that makes it more like exclusive.
Of course.
Like when it happens.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. So, you talked about the album Commissions and Recommissions. Like, how many songs are there, and how did that all come about, I guess?
Well, yeah, it came about from starting that with that my friend who was wanting to be a part of the travel network, and then after that, I just was kind of put it out there, and I was like, hey, do you need a song for your loved one? Do you need a song for yourself, like a victory song for you? Do you need a song for your enemies? I don't care, all right, whatever, and people just started asking, and so it started off kind of slow, but now it's like maybe 2 or 3 songs a month, people ask me to do. And so then now I have that album, but I have a whole nother album that's all recorded, and which is volume 2, and I'm on volume 3 right now. So I'm just kind of I'll probably be doing these for the rest of my life, just putting out these commissions and recommissions is songs that I used to do and still do, but I just wanted to recommission them in my own way, like do something different with them,
right.
And play them because after you write a song 25 years ago, you play it completely different now. So you just kind of want to give it new life.
Well, I have a quick question about that. So let's say I commission a song from you. I pay you, $300 or whatever. Is that song mine? Do I own it? Or do you still, how does that work?
Yeah, well, what we discuss is that in a sense, you can do whatever you want with the song, because it is your song. You've paid for it, you've commissioned it, but also I have the ability to put it out there and make money with it too.
Okay.
But but unless someone says specifically, no, this is just for me, I just want to have this baby for myself or for me and my partner or whatever, then that's like, okay, cool. But usually most people are like, yeah, share it. I want people to hear it. So we just kind of make a dual kind of agreement that they can do what they want with it, and I can do what I want with it as well.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So what inspires you to write music?
I guess everything.
That's fair.
Where do you find a lot of inspiration? I guess it's probably a better way.
I don't know. It's sometimes a hard question.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I guess it really just kind of depends. Like sometimes, I went to go see Tool, last year, and then I came home and just wrote all these really heavy metal kind of riffs, and it just inspired me to like get really heavy, and then I'll be out in nature, and then I'm like, okay, let's make a flute album, or I'll watch the news, and I'm like, all right, death to them all, and I just want to write some really political, intense songs, and or just I find that when I'm more depressed or sad or down, sometimes I write happy, like really happy, joyful, uplifting music, because I kind of write that song to kind of pull me out of it, and then when I'm in a really, I guess, joyful and clear space, I end up writing pretty dark songs, which is kind of interesting because I feel like I'm more clear and confident to say the things that I really want to say. With that, like when you're down, you're like, you kind of
you don't want to open yourself up.
Yeah, I don't want to open this, or I don't want to like throw a cherry bomb in someone's commode, and I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. But when you're feeling good, you're just kind of like, well, world's messed up. You're gonna hear about it, and so it's just kind of. And it's like that sometimes. But sometimes, when I'm dark, I'll write dark stuff. So it just kind of depends. But
yeah, there's inspiration everywhere.
Yeah.
You sent us some music. I think we can add one of the songs on there. We can talk about that later. But for our audience, where can they find your music?
Right now it's, Katsuk.com.
Okay.
Katsuk.com. And I have some of my older albums on Spotify and Pandora, and it's all over like iTunes and stuff like that. But I was about to probably pull them off of Spotify and Pandora and just really kind of just go from iTunes and my website, because those Pandora and Spotify it's kind of almost just robbery. I mean, it's a great thing that they offer everyone except for artists.
Yeah.
You know, it's a cool way to hear new music and hear like old like tracks you never even knew was on Joshua Tree or whatever, you know. But when they write you a check for like 0.0005 cents, you know, you're just like, there's like 1,000 streams and downloads, and I get like half of a penny, you know, and it's just kind of insulting.
Like, how do I go to the bank with this?
Yeah. I'd like a half of a penny, please.
Yeah.
That's one thing that like we don't talk about. Like as a society, it seems like we all love those services, and look, I use those services, but also like it's not fair to a lot, especially like independent artists. Like, it's one thing for Radiohead. Oh, that's actually a bad example. It's one thing for
Taylor Swift,
right? Exactly, because like, yes, is she also in the same boat? Like, she doesn't like, you know, millions of streams. She doesn't get what she probably should get.
Right.
But she's able to do so many that it's much better for someone than someone like you, or, you know, an independent artist.
I think that guy who wrote that song "Happy,"
Pharrell. Yeah.
I might be having the numbers wrong, but I remember, you know, that thing was probably streamed outrageously, and I think he made like $10,000 from it or something.
Which,
like,
when you think about how
that had
it was everywhere,
millions and millions and millions of
like
streams.
if that was like when albums were coming out, that would have been millions of dollars, millions and millions of dollars, like you said. But so, and I do appreciate, you know, I'll give credit where there's credit, you know, but when I guess Kanye was talking to Trump in the White House, and he was advocating for artists' rights, and they actually signed an order to update the streaming services and things like that. And I was like, all right, man, give you some props. But then Spotify and Pandora just, you know, have been fighting it legally ever since
They'll
then.
just drag it out longer. Yeah, Pharrell made $2,700 for 43 million streams.
Okay, I knew the number was crazy.
$2,700.
27 from Pandora, yes.
that is insane.
It's insulting.
Yeah,
it's incredibly
it really is.
insulting.
It's a criminal, is what it is.
Especially because when you think about, and especially because Amy and I play music as well. So like, we understand what it's like to write music, and it's not like, and for people that don't write music, you like, it takes time to do that. Like, you don't just sit there and go, you know what, I got it. Sometimes that happens. Don't get me wrong.
So those are great moments.
But most of the time, it's work. It's hard work. It's like you got to get into that headspace sometimes to even want to create, and it's work.
Yeah.
You should be compensated for that work.
And then what you get right now these days is like, well, you may stop complaining and just tour. And they're like, well, we can't. We can't tour right now.
In that
you know?
situation,
or even just play local gigs.
Yeah.
You know, for the most part.
I've been doing some outdoor patio things, but I'm about to stop all of that here in the next probably. I have 3 shows in December, all outside, but I don't know. There comes a moral dilemma that you sit with, you know, because
you got your family. You don't want to expose them.
And I don't want to expose my fans' families, we love with it's like playing for people is like most artists.
It's like soul affirming in a lot of ways.
It's like breathing, eating, you know, it's using your body. It's just part of natural function, you know, to play for people. And to not do that, I mean, we'd live stream, but it's just not the same.
Yeah.
You know? It's that when you get that feedback, that flow in between each other is amazing and powerful. But not being able to perform has been, I mean, debilitating for a lot of people, a lot of musicians and artists.
So we have a segment on the show that we haven't really been able to do because of COVID, called the Tournament of Toppings, where we're trying to find the best pizza place in Arlington.
Oh, okay.
Do you have a favorite pizza place in Arlington?
Woo! I love Mama's Pizza.
Yeah, it's a good one.
One of the top favorites.
I think probably Nizza Pizza's really good. I like that one. Oh, which one was it?
Blaze Pizza.
Oh, Blaze.
Blaze, yeah, we hear that one a lot. Yeah.
We like Blaze.
Yeah.
Those are probably our three go-tos around here.
Yeah, those are good ones.
We were I wouldn't say pleasantly surprised, but I live pretty close to Mama's Pizza, but I hadn't had it in a long time. And then we went to it, and we were like, this place is legit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This place is good.
This is where it's at.
I just like the way they do that crust for it folds over.
Yeah.
Chad and Matt Kakuza, they're both Italian, so I always call them and be like, where's the new pizza place, man? Because they lived in Brooklyn for a long time. Like, you go down this way. They always got a nice one.
Yeah, there's a new one in Pantego I had to check out off Park Row.
Really?
Yeah. It's like right in the corner. I think it's behind Dr. Jekyll's in that area. I could be wrong.
You're talking about that Vito's place?
Yeah.
I think it's been there for a while.
I don't know. I've never seen that time.
Haven't seen that one.
I got to check it out either way.
Well, agreed. That's not a don't go to it because it's been there forever. Go to it, absolutely. Especially in time like where we're at right now.
Of course,
we'll support those local businesses.
Yeah, been trying to do that as much as we can. Just feeling for so many people and music venues too right now. They're just holding on so hard right now.
Yeah, your favorite ones may not be here next year. So.
Yeah,
we hope they are. Knock on
of course.
wood.
Yes.
But
So if people want to connect with you on social media, listen to your music, how can they get in touch with you?
SoundCloud is one way, is Katsuk Music, soundcloud.com, Katsuk Music, and then I release a lot of it, music and videos on just our Facebook, which is Katsuk Music as well. Not really on Twitter. It's just too many platforms. It gets overwhelming.
Yeah. That's fair.
And then lots of YouTube videos as well that we have.
Right.
And mainly, mainly our website. And then I have a Patreon page, too, that I just kind of started up and creating some content for people who want to kind of help support artists in this downtime, and which is so amazing. And, live streams on our page like that.
That's fantastic.
So on my website, I'll have my dates, but maybe have 3 left, and then I think through January and February, we're just gonna chill for a little bit,
literally
smell it out.
Yes, we will chill and chill.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. We're so glad to have you on. I'm surprised we haven't met yet. I bet we know a ton of the same people. And kind of running
school.
So I'm so glad that we connected. I'm so glad that I saw you on that cover and that you were able to come in, and hopefully we can come see you sometime
in the future.
Yes,
we'd love that.
I hope that. Yeah, I mean, I've played at Levitt a few times too,
awesome.
And so I'm hoping next year they'll have us back again, because I think they try to put bands in rotation every 2 years, like local bands. So we played there the year before. So they said they'd have us back this spring. So if we're all back this spring,
yeah, I hope so.
I mean, they've done a really good job over there with keeping the social distance and everything.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I'm sure that they'll do it.
And
again
hopefully in the spring it'll be a little bit better.
Right.
It'll be in a better place to kind of make those moves.
Exactly.
And at least outdoors won't be so cold too.
Right.
Exactly.
They have to be. So all right, thank you so much.
Well, thank you all for having me.
Yeah.
And please check out the album and share the music, and and hopefully see everybody around soon.
Awesome.
Stay healthy.
Of course.
Hey, Greg, how are you today?
Good morning. How are you?
Doing well. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good, I'd say. Can't complain. Happy to be talking to you. Thank you for the opportunity.
Hey, anytime. Yeah, I mean, as soon as I heard about this account through work, obviously, and then after you told me what was going on, I was like, oh, okay, well, if I can't help you with that, I can at least try to get you on a podcast I do.
So how long have you been working in the alcohol business and liquor business?
It'll be 13 years in July this year, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
So
right
you've seen quite a bit.
Oh, yeah. I started right as the recession was happening, and I realized people are happy. People are happy they drink. People are sad they drink. It's just, if they have no money, they're still drinking. Like, they'll drink cheaper things. I mean, that's That's just what it is.
Yeah,
I'm always one of those recession-proof, and now I realize it's pandemic-proof as well.
Pandemic-proof. Wow.
Yeah.
That's the first time I've heard that. I've heard recession-proof, but pandemic-proof.
Yeah.
That's so true, man.
People are drinking 2 to 3 times. I mean, you guys have probably seen it up there, too. People are drinking 2 to 3 times more than they were normally.
Yeah, I mean, we did. We were just happy to still be open. You know, I don't think we noticed any sort of uptick. I will say this: since we are more of a drive-through convenience store, we were able to stay open, right? Because a lot of places had to shut down because of regulations. You know, the city pulling the trigger on it, and but anybody that had to go, anybody that had delivery was allowed to stay open. It was very surreal for a time there in March, in part of April, when sort of for me when it was like at its peak, the fear, the reaction, you know, all the schools being closed, restaurants being closed. That in and of itself was sort of surreal, right? Like out of a movie. And then what made it even more surreal for us and our family is that, you know, we had people still coming, and because there was no other, you know, a lot of the places around us were closed, so, you know, we want some food, what have you, we want some beer, so we can only go to Crudoolandia, and they would come, so we were happy to just still be open. And I mean, it definitely wasn't the same as a normal summer in terms of our sales, but like I said, yeah, we were happy that we didn't have to close and we didn't have to turn people away, and you know, a lot of people were doing that all around us. People were really stressed out, and which is kind of hard for me. I mean, you try to make it work. I mean, I can't speak for anybody else, but if I'm in the food services, you know, that you just got to find a way to make it work. If you don't have a drive-through window, try curbside, try delivery. So I know a couple people that refused to adapt, and they took a hit, and I know others that did adapt, right? And so, but we've been a drive-through since day one. We started in 2012 here in Oklahoma City, and what's interesting is how we started is that so there was a business, not our business, but in the same building, early 2000s here in Oklahoma City, and that business was strictly a beer barn, or sometimes some people call them beer caves, or a drive-through convenience store, where, you know, you don't have to get just beer. I mean, you can also get pop and chips and cigarettes or what have you. And, you know, those are kind of common all around Texas, I'd say. You know, I even see them in small towns, right? What do you call them? Do you yourself personally, do you call them a drive-through, a beer cave, a beer barn?
I actually have never heard the term drive cave or beer cave. I like it a lot. But no, I've seen beer. We have beer barns here. I've seen them in other states as well. But yeah, I know we have Eskimo. I think it's not Eskimo Joe's.
Eskimo Hut.
Yeah, Eskimo Hut. So
yeah.
I know there's a drive-through one in Fort Worth, and I know we have 2 in Arlington that you can drive up to and go get it inside.
Yeah, so imagine Eskimo Hut. With Eskimo Hut, obviously it's daiquiris is their thing, right? So imagine Eskimo Hut, but with a Mexican twist and with a Mexican focus. That's what we are. And almost the exact same thing. And on top of that, we have food. So, like you brought up other states. So obviously in Louisiana, it's very popular to see these drive-through daiquiri places, and a lot of these drive-through daiquiris also have Cajun food, like, you know, boiled shrimp, you know. And so we kind of were influenced by that a little bit. And so this drive-through beer barn, so to speak, in Oklahoma City closed down, right? Don't know why, but it was vacant for a year. And my brother-in-law said, hey, we should put a business there. And at first I was reluctant. And, you know, I told my wife, I said, well, I don't know if this is actually, you know, going to be a hit or not. I mean, there's a reason, like, they closed, you know, a year ago. And what if we have the same fate as them? But thankfully my wife talked me into it, and my brother-in-law, and great idea, great name, which Crudoolandia, for those who
don't speak Spanish, it's kind of a play on words also. And crudo, which goes hand in hand with the word cruda, is referring to a hangover, okay, in Spanish. So it's kind of slang for hangover, right? When you say, I'm hungover, you can say, especially in Mexican slang, estoy crudo, I'm hungover, right? Crudo. Which if you look deeper at the etymology of it, it actually is referring to the word raw, like as in, raw food or what have you, or like a feeling of being raw. So I don't know how crudo became associated with hangover. Maybe you feel raw, I guess. I don't know. But in any case, it's been around for, generations that this means I'm hungover. Crudo, right? So then you got the second part of the play on words, which is landia, Landia, landia. And that comes from another play on words, or like another word that's kind of popular in Mexican vernacular to refer to Disneyland. Okay, so Disneyland in Spanish, especially in Mexico, when you say, I want to go to Disneyland, you say, I want to go to Disneylandia. Okay? So in the same way that the word land has been used a lot for, naming purposes, right? Like Candyland, Disneyland, McDonald's used to have McDonald's Land, their playground used to be called McDonald's Land. So the same way that land gets used for naming, for titling, it's the same way in Spanish. So like anything that you want to say is like the emporium of, or like sometimes you would hear RS, like Simpsons would use that a lot, like to reference Toys R Us. If they were selling guns, they would be Guns R Us. If they were selling newspapers R Us, right? So, so in the same way that RS gets used, land gets used, it's the same for Landia. So a lot of times people will say it, like if you wanted to start a taco place, surely, I'm sure this exists. So if you wanted to start a taco place, you could call it Tacolandia, Taco Land, right? So that's how we have our name, Crudoolandia.
I've seen a lot of Tacolandias now that I think about it. And so I never thought, I don't know why I never thought to even try to look it up and figure out what it was.
Well, it's kind of like King, that gets used a lot by small mom and pop shops, right? Like Cell Phone King, Pager King, Donut King.
There's also like Smoothie King is obviously very popular.
Yes.
Yeah.
House, you see that a lot, right?
Yeah.
Burger House. So we did that. Crudoolandia. My brother-in-law came up with that name, and people, you would be surprised. Like people just love that name. It seems so long and awkward when you first look at it, but it has become, for our fans, something that just rolls off the tongue, and it instantly brings to mind these adjectives like fun and fresh, and we borrow a lot from a kind of like a cultural region in western Mexico, Mazatlan. Mazatlan right now is culturally very significant in Mexico because of the type of food that they eat there, the slang that they use there, the music that was born there is probably the most popular music right now in Mexico, and consequently Mexican communities in the United States. So it's the state of Sinaloa, the home of famous Sinaloa cartels, all the big artists, like the hottest musical attractions, like the musical groups that are hitting right now, that are popular right now, you could argue are from there. And
I'm looking on a map. It's on the west. It's on the west part of Mexico, just across from the Baja, California.
Exactly, and a lot of those states. That's why I say it's a region, because a lot of those states kind of have similar feel, right? So it's not something that necessarily is only found in Mazatlan, Sinaloa, but pretty much on the west side in general. And so this whole vibe is what we inject into, our marketing, our our pictures. You know, we try to give off this West Coast vibe. And in the same way that in the United States we have cultural regions that influence our pop culture, the same's happening in Mexico, obviously. And you know, when we think of Cajun style, when we think of Southern, right? When we think of
Louisiana,
New England, yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's something that we feel has helped us. Obviously, the whole drive-through aspect of it. So when we took over this old drive-through, we knew that we weren't going to do the whole girls in bikinis in a pool because with my wife being kind of like the head of this, she said, no, you know, I want to attract women too, and we don't want this just to be a bunch of guys that are coming and checking out girls, you know, salivating and we also not just in terms of our look, we also wanted to offer more than just prepackaged items, right? Like a convenience store. So in the same way, I mean, this is probably out of bounds for me to even bring this up, but in the same way that Buc-ee's creates food on site, right? Prepares food on site and has prepackaged stuff, we do that as well. And that's the reason I say out of bounds is because obviously Buc-ee's is in a way higher league than us, but we aspire to that.
Oh, yeah.
And you know, Quick Trip with their kitchens now. So making food freshly prepared on site, you know, you could argue just how gourmet is it or how handcrafted is it, blah, blah, blah. I mean, there's different levels there, but when it comes to our food, you know, we have like sort of, what you could call like maybe, so we have snacks in the same way that you can go to Sonic and, you know, they have a lot more snacks than other restaurants might. So we have that. We have bigger dishes that you would find at like Mexican seafood sit-down restaurants. We're more casual dining, obviously. We're not even really fast casual, you could say, because it's all to go. So we're more like fast food in that way. But like the bigger place that we have, so there's a particular shrimp dish from Western Mexico called aguachile. And what's interesting about the aguachile is it's first of all, it's a big plate, you know, so it comes with, it's a hearty, like main plate and, like a main meal. And it has shrimp is the big protein in it. And it has the lime juice. And what's interesting about the shrimp is that the shrimp is actually butterflied raw, right? And the lime juice cooks, or I could say, quote unquote, cooks the shrimp to makes it edible. Right. It's no longer raw because of the lime juice. And so it's sort of like a Mexican sashimi in a way, right? Whereas when the Japanese eat that raw sashimi, it's still healthy and it's not, you know, presenting them that much of a risk, right, in terms of eating raw seafood. It's kind of like that, only with the lime juice. Obviously, it's very safe to eat and very tasty, very very refreshing. It's kind of served chilled. It's got sliced cucumbers, sliced onions, and very spicy sauce. So kind of like not as thick like a curry, right? Lighter than that. More so like a salad. So like a shrimp salad, if you will. I shouldn't say tuna salad, but just to kind of give people an idea, you know, tuna salad is usually served chilled and you know what you're expecting in terms of the condiments inside. It's sort of like this, but a lot more watery than tuna salad, so a lot more juice and very spicy, very crisp because of the onions and the cucumber. So that's an interesting dish that not a lot of people know about. And even people in Mexico, not a lot of people might know about it because it's, like I said, it's pretty regional. But but anybody who goes to Mexican seafood places, whether here or in Mexico, will know about it because it's probably one of the more popular dishes right now in Mexican seafood joints, and we sell it to go. And of course, we have ceviche. Ceviche is sort of well known. Ceviche and shrimp cocktails are kind of well known by most people. So we have those as well. But what we sell the most of, hands down, and the reason we're called Crudoolandia, the reason we make reference to having a hangover, is that in Mexican culture, one of the ways you can cure hangovers, there's a lot of, you know, recipes out there, quote unquote, like that I guess you could say myths or like the urban legends of how you can cure your hangover. One of them is with micheladas, sometimes referred to in the United States as red beers, right? Or just simply cheladas, right? And so we make our micheladas fresh, and that hands down is our number one reason of existence. Like the fact that we're about to open up for the very first time in a state other than Oklahoma. We're going to be opening this month, January, in Arlington, Texas. The reason that we've had our success over these past 8 years is because of the micheladas that we make fresh for our consumers, for our customers, and people just love them. I mean, micheladas in general, right, are just popular in general. Like you can go to any Mexican seafood place and ask for michelada. But we took that a step further, and we've kind of, if you've ever seen the crazy concoctions of Bloody Mary bars, so it's like the Mexican version of a Bloody Mary. As a matter of fact, a michelada gets compared to Bloody Mary quite often. Obviously, michelada doesn't have any vodka in it, but it's more of a beer cocktail, right? But yeah, so if you're a fan of Bloody Marys, you're probably going to be a fan of micheladas, the Mexican micheladas. And in the same way, there's a lot of Bloody Marys out there with crazy add-ons like huge pieces of bacon or lots of olives and celery. We do the same thing, and the Mexican version of it. We don't have bacon, but we have Mexican beef jerky, which is obviously spicier and it's got more crunch to it. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun experimenting with new recipes and new ways to go about doing this, and it's very uncommon. You know, when people hear about our business, they scratch their heads a lot because they're like, okay, you're a convenience store, but it's all to go. You don't have any gas pumps. I can get convenience store type items from you, but at the same time, I can get these freshly prepared Mexican seafood items. What gives? Like, it's just so unconventional, but it's worked. And, you know, people just like the convenience of being able to not have to get out of their car. They don't have to get out of the car. We have car hops like Sonic. They go right up to the window. So thankfully it's been so far smooth sailing, and hope to open several locations in the DFW area in the coming years.
Right. So how did you guys decide on Arlington? Well, first, I guess, how did you think to get out of Oklahoma first, and then how did you guys decide on Arlington?
Yeah, that was a great question. So we kind of felt like, I kind of feel like we've outgrown Oklahoma in a way. So we have 2 locations in Oklahoma City and 1 in Tulsa, and these are obviously the 2 major metropolitan areas of Oklahoma, and there are other cities that are big and notable in Oklahoma, but the Hispanic population isn't that big in these cities. And 95% of our customers are Hispanic. And you know, that's starting to change in terms of we're getting more and more non-Hispanics than normal over recently in these past few years. But for the most part, the stuff that we sell is, to me, in my mind, the way I describe it is it's so hardcore Mexican that people who aren't adventurous aren't going to try it. So we have a snack item, or like an appetizer, that is basically potato chip nachos. Okay. So instead of tortilla chips, we have potato chips. And instead of cheese, we have a sauce called chamoy, which a lot of your listeners might know. It's starting to become more popular, but it's a sweet and spicy salsa. Sweet and tangy, sweet, spicy. It's red, bright red. And usually in Mexico, chamoy is used on top of fruit or anything related on the sweeter side of life, you know, like closer to, you might even put it on ice cream, right? There is an ice cream flavor called chamoy. So it's kind of like the Mexican sweet version, or I guess I'd say spicy version of caramel, right? In the same way that you would put caramel on stuff, and it has the same viscosity as caramel, and probably a little bit light, probably a little bit more runny than caramel, or like caramel sauce, I should say. And so this chamoy, it's not as well known. You take that and you have these other things such as pickled pork skins, which we call cueritos. The pickled pork skins are just, so out there that people are like, wait, what? I don't want to eat a pickled pork skin, because it has the texture and bite and snap of an onion. It looks kind of like an onion, But when people are told that you're eating pork skin, but it's not pork, it's not like pork rind, pork skin like when you're watching a football game. It doesn't have that fried crunch. It's pickled, so it's kind of more of a. I mean, even just describing it in my mind is like, it doesn't sound appetizing, right? Like, it's sort of rubbery, right? And like most pickled things are. But people love it, especially in the Hispanic community, and we put that on a lot of our snacks. And so that's why I say it's hardcore. Like the tajin sauce, which some people call tajin sauce, not sauce, the powder, tajin powder. Some people call it tajin. That usually goes on top of fruit in Mexican culture. That's starting to become more and more popular, and we use a lot of that. The tajin, which can be best described as like dry chili powder that has a lot of citrus in it, like lime powder as well. And it's, for generations has been used in Mexico, and we use a lot of that. But it's just so different. A lot of times people aren't used to it. They're not going to try it. So that's why I would say that a majority of our customers are Hispanic. But that's, starting to change, especially with millennials that are more adventurous. I haven't quite seen as many non-Hispanic Generation Z customers, but a lot of non-Hispanic millennials coming, whether they're white, Asian, black. But if they're millennials and then they're adventurous and they're foodies, they probably have been to our place. And it's fun to see them because I never thought that that would be popular, that they would like our stuff, And So to answer your question about Arlington, so I was telling my wife, we need to find another large metropolitan area that has a huge Hispanic population. Obviously, the DFW Metroplex, large Hispanic population, 3 hours away from where my wife and I live in Oklahoma City. We thought, maybe we could pull this off. We started our location in Tulsa 5 years ago, and it's 2 hours away from us. So why not just drive another hour for an even bigger city, a bigger, metroplex? So we got in contact with a company, a commercial real estate company, called Square Foot. Let me see if I'm probably not saying the business name correctly, but I'm referring to a gentleman named Rolando Leal, Leal. Rolando and his son RJ, they're experts, and so Rolando and his family, they have had experience in the past with Mexican food establishments, especially with their family owns a tortilla factory in Dallas. And so Rolando comes from, a food service background, a commercial real estate background, super sharp, and so is his son RJ. RJ, he's like in his late 20s, I think. Just great people. I'm so happy that I found them on Google because they have made a big difference in the growth of our company as it stands right now, and I feel like they're going to continue to help us grow. So number one, they know the Hispanic community very well in DFW. Number two, they know about commercial real estate. So they helped us find this former Church's Chicken in Arlington, Texas, on the corner of Park Row and New York Avenue.
Right, yeah, you guys are just east of New York on Park Row.
Yes, that's right, south of I-30, and so right next to a very prominent Hispanic grocery store. Maybe not the biggest Hispanic grocery store, but it's El Rancho. It's still pretty good, and it's got a lot of foot traffic. And next to an AutoZone, so it was just a great intersection. The building is very small, but we don't really need a huge building anyways. Lots of space for cars to do a drive-through. Like I said, we're only drive-through. We're only to go. So it worked out, And so we thought, wow, Arlington is awesome because the Hispanic population, number one, is still very good compared to what we could do here in Oklahoma. Our options in Oklahoma, like none of the other cities come even close to Arlington in terms of the amount of Hispanic residents. And if Arlington maybe is not necessarily known for having a lot of Hispanic residents because you got Dallas and Fort Worth who have obviously many more. But for us, it felt like a good place to test the waters, right? We're able to dip our feet into the pool without completely submerging, because it is scary for us in a way to be opening for the first time outside of Oklahoma. It's kind of a giant leap. So in the same way that the Apollo missions started off by first circling the moon before landing on it, that's kind of what we're doing. And because DFW, in my mind, obviously, the whole Metroplex to me is huge. It's a moon, and in the same way that the big goal was to get to the moon. That's kind of it's been my goal for years to try to get to DFW somehow. And so this felt like a good entryway. It was just a great location. So many factors that said this building has got to be the one. And it took a lot of work to get the building ready. I think it had been abandoned for a year, and a lot of the chicken grease was still there after a year. Yeah, so I mean, frying chicken is not an easy and clean task, right? It's pretty gritty, right? And but I'm happy for that opportunity because it just seems like the perfect location for us. And although we haven't opened yet and we haven't truly tested to see if it is a good location in terms of sales, I have a strong feeling it will be, because just as we've been there, cleaning and getting everything ready, we have people constantly coming in, a constant flow of, hey, are you guys open yet? And hey, what is this going to be? And hey, do you have any chicken? It's been a lot of fun. So this is really an eye-opening and enthralling experience for us to be outside of the state of Oklahoma doing this the first time. Not a lot of Oklahoma companies make their way to Texas. There's a lot of Texas companies coming to Oklahoma, but not that many going the opposite way. Sonic obviously being the best example of that. You have a friend in Shawnee. Sonic started in Shawnee, and now look at where they are. And so we admire a lot about what Sonic has done. A lot of how they do their business. Let's see. There's a company called the House Smith Restaurant Group. They own Red Rock Canyon. They started the Garage Burger, so they have a lot of businesses outside of Oklahoma, and they're in South Lake, for example, is a Red Rock Canyon Grill, and that company's really from Oklahoma. So things like that, and so we're excited. I mean, we want to open up as many as we can. And so you asked me why Arlington, and you also asked me, there was a follow-up question to that. I'm sorry, I forgot, since I'm so long-winded.
Oh, no, you're good. How did it take you guys so long to get down to Texas?
Oh, yeah, why did it take so long? Well, I mean, I guess you could say, truth be told, it was just fear of the unknown.
Right.
This whole concept of, if we're not physically there, how can we run a successful business? Right. And there's even a phrase in the Mexican vernacular that says, "He who has a business must have the business." It's a rough translation. He who has a business needs to be at the business, right?
Yes.
And it's understood that if you're not at your business, then your business is going to fail. That's kind of what this phrase is trying to say. And so that plays into our psyche, I guess, at times. But if you look at all the success stories in food service over the years, at some point you just got to take that leap and trust someone who maybe doesn't have your same last name, doesn't have your same DNA, right? To run the business, and that's exactly what we're doing in Arlington. We've got a young man who we have a lot of faith is going to do well for us as a manager, and he's a resident of Arlington, and we kind of did that leap of faith in Tulsa, even though it was only 2 hours away. We're not there every day, and thankfully the business has been successful there, thank God. And so I guess you could say fear, right? And fear of taking that leap, and to a lesser extent the money involved. Although the way that we have our business designed, we don't necessarily have to invest a lot of money to open up compared to other food establishments. But still, we try to be careful with how we're spending our money, and making sure we're making wise choices and not throwing money away. So there was always sort of this reluctancy in that, if we spend thousands and thousands of dollars for it to crumble, that's gonna feel real bad. We're gonna feel real crunchy. And right. real salty. But
Yeah.
so yeah, I mean, but it just took several years to get over those fears, those self-limiting factors.
I mean, it makes sense. You guys, you had the first initial two in Oklahoma City, and then I'm sure the third one was Tulsa, which, like you said, I'm sure was a giant leap because, like you said, that's 2 hours away. So that's it to some people in DFW trying to think that process. You'd almost have to be closer to Austin or something like that to try to be like, you know, I mean, Austin's 3 hours away from us, but still like something within the 2 hour range that, you know, you can't, I mean, you could go out there every day, but you're going to spend more time in your car than you're going to be at the actual place. Unless you're going to try to spend some money on a flight just to check out your business. I mean, that's not cost effective at all. So now that you guys are just taking that other leap, like you said, taking that jump, I mean, that initial fear holds a lot of people back. And the fact that you guys are actually able to take that leap now, it's very good. And I know it's going to be a little scary, but at the same time, once it does take off, because there's a very big Hispanic community here in Arlington, not just in Arlington, but in bordering Grand Prairie has a very large Hispanic community. And I know for a fact people will come over to check out the food, check out the drinks, and just, you know, help support Hispanic owned businesses and Hispanic run businesses because, you know, there is a lot of places they can eat around here, but, you know, with the kind of stuff you guys are serving, there's not really anybody or very few people that are doing what you guys are doing. And I very much look forward to this thing taking off and absolutely exploding and making it a less fear for you guys.
Oh, wow. John, that is a huge compliment. Thank you so much for saying that.
You're welcome.
That is cool. Yeah, when we open, you got to be there, man. So we're going to definitely hook you up, man.
I appreciate that, yeah.
Comp you because, you know, free food tastes better. I don't know if you've noticed that.
Oh, it does. It's true. I also saw you guys have elote, and I love me some elote. So.
Oh yeah, we do. You know,
and then I mean, I haven't had a whole bunch. I've had a couple of micheladas, but I haven't had. I mean, not the way you guys are serving them, and those look absolutely delicious.
Oh, cool. Well, you know, thank you. You know, the chiladas. You see a lot of them canned, but with us, you know, it's fresh. So yeah, it gives it a different feel and taste.
Where can people go to follow you guys on social media and check out the website? And then what date are we looking forward to opening?
So, John, thanks for having me on your podcast. Such a pleasure to be able to talk to you. And man, as learned, as cultured as yourself, and you sound like the perfect kind of guy to hang out with on a Friday night to have a michelada. Just a joy talking to you. And for anybody that's out there listening that would like to visit us in Arlington, we're going to be opening officially on January 15th, kind of like a light opening. So that'll be kind of our very first day, January 15th, a Friday. And January 16th, my wife is saying, Saturday. So, you know, if you come on Saturday, it'll be even better. And then we're also on social media, definitely Instagram and Facebook. And so the first part of our name, it's all one word, but the first part is Crudo, Crudo. And then we have another O in there. And then the last part is Landia, Landia. So altogether it's Crudolandia. Particularly more active on Facebook and Instagram than anything else. We do have a website, www.crudoolandia.com, where you can see our menu and you kind of learn more about our history and how we run our business. And we love to have everybody out and hope you enjoy what we've done from our family to yours.
Greg, I appreciate your time, and I very much look forward to going out there and checking you guys out. I'm unfortunately sober throughout the month of this January, but once I'm done being sober, I'm going to be over there on a regular basis, I promise you.
Oh, very cool. Well, you know, we have a lot of non-alcoholic stuff too, so if you have a craving that you just can't fight, we'd love to have you anytime, January or beyond. So thanks so much for having me on your podcast. I was thoroughly impressed with how you run your podcast and your questions and your style and everything. It's very cool.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, and I hope you have a happy 2021.
Well, that was a great interviews. I can't wait to try this Crudoolandia. It's going to be fantastic. The food looks even better, and then the drinks with the food, I can't wait. And then Daniel Katsuk, what a great interview. That dude is not only funny, but extremely talented.
Mm-hmm. And really smart.
Yeah.
And good looking.
He's very good looking, yeah.
The total package.
Yep.
Sorry, ladies, he is taken, though. So,
yep.
And men. Sorry, men as well. So I tried TJ's Wings last night. Ooh, I forgot how good that place is.
Did you forget? Because you eat them all the time.
No, I forgot momentarily. On a regular basis.
Right.
But
flavors is your go-to.
Yeah. Because I get daiquiris there as well, which just makes sense.
Sure, to go, as we were talking about earlier in the show.
Right.
Which I think that was before but whatever. Booze to go. Let's celebrate that.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yes, check out Flavors and check out TJ's. You can do we're going to do a wing war at some point, I feel like. It's just
wing war. Oh, man, that's
there's so many
great name. Wing wars.
I have one question for both of you. Flats or legs?
I mean, legs are easier. I mean, I can go both ways.
What are we talking about?
Wings. Flats or drumsticks?
Oh, do you mean boneless when you say flat?
No.
No.
Flats is in like the two.
I don't know what that is. I don't eat a lot of wings, guys.
Basically, the flats.
I've never been to Flavors or TJ's.
You can eat like this, and nobody can see that, but basically, you just, if anybody knows what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. And the drumsticks is like a gnawing.
Yeah, the ones that aren't drumsticks, if you get a lot of wings together.
Right.
Yeah.
However, everybody has their preference, really. I'm a flats.
I've seen many ways to eat flats as well. Like you can smush all the meat down, or some people break it and then just pull it all off that way.
That's a good one.
There's so many great.
Pull it and pull it all on your teeth.
Mm-hmm.
This is the
weirdest
episode.
Drumsticks, you're kind of limited.
Yeah, drumsticks. I mean, you can't push all. There's only one way, really.
Yeah, there's only one way to do it.
There's only one way to eat a drummy.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I was saying.
Yummy drummy.
Anyways, thank you so much to our listeners. Don't forget to
make sure to go out and eat local, drink local, and
go rediscover your city.
Tag us and send those pictures over to us on Facebook, Arlington Citizen Media, Twitter, ATX Citizen Media. Tag us on Instagram, Arlington Citizen Media, and send those pictures the old-fashioned way. Email arlingtoncitizenmedia@gmail.com. Also go to our website, www.arlingtoncitizenmedia.com. Don't forget to subscribe and give those 5-star reviews of the Downtown at Apple Music, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and also hit us on SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, and YouTube.